Well, hello! My name is Nick, and welcome to my channel. A Fall from Grace is a Tyler Perry movie, which pretty much sums it up, but this one is about a middle-aged woman named Grace who appears to be living her perfect basic life until she turns herself in for the murder of her own husband. So a young lawyer steps in to figure out her plea agreement and ends up trying to untangle the web around Grace and figure out whether or not she's actually guilty of a murder or if she's involved in a scheme much bigger than her. Now, I know I'm a little bit late to the party and you've probably gotten all of your hate watch videos on this movie done and out of the way, but I need to weigh in here because this movie was such a special type of bad. It requires its own video. This is not going to be a simple review. This is going to be a full breakdown of A Fall from Grace because this movie is loaded with so much stupidity, I cannot even handle it. But trust me, this is not one that you need to see yourself. You do not need this in your life, and I have you covered because I ended up watching it 3 times. Yeah, why? Well, it was on in the background while I was editing a video, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? So I watched it again, and then I was like, oh my god, this is so horrible that I needed to watch it a 3rd time. And after watching this one 3 times, I have devised what will be known as the Tyler Perry Netflix movie drinking game. Take a drink every time the main character is made to feel incompetent. Take a drink every time that there's a major plot shift. Finish your drink when the man who was made out to be the dream guy ends up being a lying, cheating criminal. Alright, with that intro out of the way, let's get into it. It feels like Tyler Perry wanted to start this movie out as extra as he possibly could, because we open with a lady standing on her roof threatening to commit suicide, while a police officer is shouting at her out the window being like, no, don't kill yourself. But then a helicopter shows up, and she jumps, and it looks like she makes like, I don't know, a 20-foot fall, and I guess that kills her. You think it would just break a hip or something, but it is so dramatic as this police officer is like, no! And this whole thing is so cheap. This looks like a discount movie. There's supposed to be this helicopter in the sky, and it looks like they just aimed a flashlight up at the roof and then added some helicopter noises in. The funniest part about this scene is that it would have some actual emotional impact if it wasn't trying to be so over the top, but you know what? Apparently Tyler Perry doesn't understand filmmaking, which is why he has his own film studio. But you might be wondering, what the hell does this opening have to do with anything? Oh, you wait. So the police officer is Jordan, and he goes home to his wife Jasmine, who I guess is the real protagonist of the movie. You never know with these shifty plots. Jasmine is the worst lawyer in history, according to everyone in this movie. And so on her way to work, she's listening to the radio, and they're talking about this Grace Waters case, this woman who murdered her husband, and they've got people calling in, and they're just like, who cares about the evidence? Kill this lady. Give her the death penalty. It feels like Tyler Perry is trying to make a comment on how we as the people will jump to conclusions before we have all of the evidence, but it just feels like this is something he was thinking about in the moment, and so he wrote it. There's no through line in this movie at all. There's like no one theme or message. So Jasmine gets to work, and of course Tyler Perry is her asshole boss, and he gives her the Grace Waters case. And Jasmine is so bad at her job, she can't actually do lawyering. She just like gets people to sign their plea agreements. So she's sent to the prison to go get Grace to sign her plea agreement. And Grace is looking like she got hit by a dump truck. Straight up, someone put her out of her misery. And Jasmine is still so bad at her job that she cannot even get Grace to figure out this damn plea agreement. But Grace's son pops up at Jasmine's office and is like, my mom doesn't do murders. And so then Jasmine goes full True Detective. She's looking at crime scene photos and shit, and everyone around her is just like, this is not the X-Files. There's no conspiracy to debunk here. But still, Jasmine is like, asking questions and following the clues and whatever. And so she talks to Grace's one friend that she has, Miss Sarah, who apparently runs a halfway house for senior citizen ladies. And this is where the flashbacks begin, because I guess Grace is actually our main character. Go figure. So back in flashback land, we see Grace as a woman dealing with a divorce. She's a single mother now, trying to live her basic life. And back in the present timeline, Miss Sarah is straight up teaching Jasmine how to do her own damn job. She's like, are you gonna take notes on like anything I'm saying? And Jasmine is like, Oh yeah, no! So back at the lawyer's office, Tyler Perry is continuing to be a douche, and I don't know what's more over the top, his performance or his wig, but he's pressuring Jasmine to wrap this case up, because boo-hoo, he's getting phone calls from people. So Jasmine visits Grace again, trying to get some more answers, and oh no! Grace starts remembering things, so more flashbacks. This is 30 minutes into the movie, and we're getting the initial backstory that we're supposed to be working with. I would never in my life sell a screenplay like this. If you took this screenplay and put my name on it, someone would be like, you might want to stick to retail. So back in the past, Grace goes to this art gallery where she meets the buff and tall Shannon, who's like a photographer and like happens to be sexy and intellectual, whatever, but he's dressed like he's trying to be cool in a music video from 2002, so sure, he's sophisticated. Basically, Shannon romances Grace. They have a wonderful time together. They start going out and Grace opens up to him, and this is just like the worst part of this movie. It's so bad. They go to this greasy ass spoon diner, and this is just how bad this movie is made. You can see an extra, the extra that's like directly behind Grace is drinking a cup of air. Like they couldn't even put water in the extra's glass. It's so bad. And also they're serving wine at this little diner. Like when in the history of diners have they served wine? I would know. I would be drinking it. We get a montage of Grace and Shannon falling in love because God forbid we establish anything properly in this movie. And there's a scene where Shannon takes Grace to the woods in the middle of the night, which I guess is romantic and not the beginning of a true crime docuseries, but they look at the worst looking CGI fireflies and then Shannon proposes to Grace, and it's just so pathetic. It's so pathetic. They get married and it all turns to shit. A ton of money goes missing from Grace's like work bank accounts, and then there's a random mortgage taken out on her house that's already paid off. It's just like, hello, what do you think is happening here? Obviously Shannon is ruining your life. But he's all, why don't you trust me? And it's like, because you're a sketchy giant. But Grace goes along with it, and she's still like, no, he's my man. There's no way he would like ruin my life. When has a man ever done that? So Grace puts up with some more bullshit until Shannon straight up just starts like cheating on Grace in front of her and smoking cigarettes inside the house. I mean, you don't get more disrespectful than that. And Grace is trying to figure out a way to like get rid of him, and like the police won't do anything. They're married, so they're in a committed legal relationship. Shannon has ruined Grace's life. He has demeaned her. He has scammed the living hell out of her. So she reacts by beating the living shit out of him with a baseball bat. And this is the moment where the movie, about an hour into it, decides to let you know that there was never a body recovered from the crime scene. I'm sorry, feel free to correct me with facts, any lawyer out there, but last I checked, I don't think you can like go through with a full murder charge unless there is sufficient evidence. And like, they have the bloody baseball bat and there was like blood on the floor in the house, but no body, and Grace has no idea what happened to the body. Like, I know as a police officer you'd be like, she's lying, she just doesn't want to tell us where the body is. But it's like, if she's turning herself in for murder, wouldn't she also be like, and then I buried him in that person's backyard? Like, I just don't even think that this movie would be playing out the way that it does. And I love how we don't get this information until halfway through. It's like as if Tyler Perry just came up with everything on the spot as he was writing it. This is so bad. This movie is so bad. I hate it. So Jasmine is like, we have to save Grace. Who cares if she admitted to murder? And so they take the case to trial, and it just is so bad. This is like worse than a bad courtroom TV show. It's filmed in like what looks like a conference room with a couple American flags thrown up. Like, you're not fooling me, Tyler Perry. And there are all these quick cuts with like Jasmine asking random extras who I guess matter in this case, and it's just so funny because none of them look like they are at all actors. They're just like people pulled in off the street, and Jasmine's asking the most ridiculous questions like, did you sleep with him? And like random extras just kind of like, I don't know, did it? I'm down with that. Jasmine does such a bad job. She's proven that she really is the worst of the worst, which is what she's referred to as in this movie. And then she goes home and she is tripping so hard she cannot even have dinner. Like, after one bad day, she's ready to quit her job, divorce her husband, and go live in a minivan. But Jordan convinces her to pull her ass together because, oh yeah, I guess Jordan is in this movie and matters still, whatever. Oh yes, also, and I missed this because of the drinking, Miss Sarah ends up going to testify at Grace's trial and she screws her over. She's like, yeah, she told me she killed her husband. It happened. So Jasmine keeps trying to get Miss Sarah back onto the stand so that she can get her to, like, I don't know, give up some more information or whatever. And she keeps trying to call her up there even though the judge is like, we're done with that. We're not doing that. And so she keeps calling her, and it's like, no, this isn't happening. The judge is like, I'm gonna hold you in contempt, okay? Bah, Jasmine, that dumbass. She gets sent to jail, and so Tyler Perry shows up, and he's basically just like, you suck. And then he just leaves her there, but Jordan shows up to get her out. And then the movie realizes we're an hour and a half into it, and it's done about 3 different genres. So now all of the answers just fall into Jasmine's lap, and she realizes there is fuckery afoot over at Miss Sarah's halfway house for old ladies. So Jasmine goes to Miss Sarah's house, and this is when Cicely Tyson is in this movie for literally no reason. I'm like, you got her out of bed for this? And so Cicely Tyson lets Jasmine into the house, and then Jasmine starts like wandering around like this is Silence of the Lambs. It's like, get out of there! And she goes into the basement. Number one thing you just I just realized. Tyler Perry was probably watching The Silence of the Lambs as he was writing this particular scene. That just came to me. So Jasmine goes into the basement and she finds all these ladies chained up on the ground and they're like, help me, help me. And they're supposed to be these old ladies, but they look like normal 30-something women with just like dirt on their faces. But then Shannon pops up behind her because I guess this is a horror film all of a sudden. Thanks, Tyler Perry. So Jasmine is tied up in this closet, and I guess Jordan just has like spidey senses and is like, I gotta go back there and check on my lady, even though I just dropped her off and couldn't even take her to the house because I had so much to do. The plot conveniences in this movie. I can't. So he shows back up at Miss Sarah's house and he's knocking on the door and she's like, no one's here, goodbye. And then he busts his ass right in there. Miss Sarah hits him over the head with a cast iron skillet. And he reacts like she threw a Beanie Baby at him. He just turns right back around, and then he gets her down, he handcuffs her, but I'm gonna skip a little ahead just to say, she somehow gets away, like she just gets away from this situation. Like you had her handcuffed, hanging in the kitchen, and then you just lose her. He's about as good at his job as Jasmine is. So Jordan runs into the basement, he finds Jasmine, he unties her, Shannon attacks them, we see he's been alive this entire time, he's Miss Sarah's son, and I guess they run this scheme where Miss Sarah sets up these old ladies to then sleep with her son, and then the son schemes them out of all this money, and then they kidnap old ladies and put them in the basement. This whole thing just feels like, what fucking drugs was Tyler Perry on when he came up with this one? Like, this wasn't a marijuana situation. This was like ayahuasca, peyote, black tar heroin. So yeah, because this movie realizes it's been like 20 minutes past when it should have ended, we immediately jump from here to just back in court as they're like, we're so sorry, Miss Waters, you're totally free to go. Sorry about that whole homicide mix-up. And it's just like, I'm not 100% sure this is at all how the legal system works, but thank you, movie magic. Like moments ago, homegirl couldn't argue her way out of a paper bag, but now she's getting someone off of murder charges. Like, Kim Kardashian had to slip in somewhere, because this just doesn't make a lick of sense. But best part, the movie ends on seeing Sarah now in some new environment, as we're like, oh, I guess she got away and no one addressed it. Like, you mean to tell me that they uncovered this entire operation and then we're just like, I guess she got away? Like, she was handcuffed in a kitchen, but now she's in some new area, heading into a building about to pull this off with, I guess, some other ladies, even though now she doesn't have the hot sun to lure them in with. This movie makes no sense. This whole thing is just ridiculous. A Fall from Grace was just such pure garbage, and it just kind of upsets me because I have to admit, I am 100% jealous of Tyler Perry. He's living the dream. He has his own film studio now. He has, I think it's like an over 100, like hundreds of millions of dollars deal with Netflix, and he's gonna be making all the movies he wants, and it's just like, that's cool and all, and you do you. I'm like totally wishing I could be a part of that in any way. Call me Tyler Perry, I can do any basic movie. But it's just like, why on earth, with all of these resources, is this the product you put out? It's like, sure, you are capable of doing all kinds of stuff, and this is what you're doing? He's writing like 20 different screenplays of this crap? I'm gonna need a lot more wine. Well, guys, I've been recording for over 30 minutes, so I can only hope that I can edit this down to a reasonable length. Thank you so much for watching. If you are still with me at this point, I'm just gonna wrap this up because, you know what, we've done enough. We went over A Fall from Grace. It's done. It happened. I never want to see this movie again. Oh, for the sake of it, I'm going to give A Fall from Grace a 1.5 out of 5. It was slightly better than Acrimony. Like, Acrimony's here, and then A Fall from Grace is like right there. Thank you so much again for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Feel free to let me know what you thought of this movie in the comments below. I could talk shit about this one for days. Like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to watch this now, and I'll see you in my next video.